So yesterday you watched a video and listened to your story being read, but today we're going to go ahead and read it together. So if you'd like to follow along while I read, you can go ahead and go grab your book, and we're on pages 210 and 211. So if you need to pause the video to go grab it, you can. Okay, remember our story this week is called Bat Loves the Night, and it's written by Nicola Davies and illustrated by Sarah Fox Davies. Our skill is sequence, and we're going to talk a lot more about sequence tomorrow, and our genre is narrative nonfiction. And I talked a little bit yesterday about how this story is kind of different than any of the ones that we've done so far, mostly because it's nonfiction, so that means it's completely true, everything in it. But instead of just writing a book that says, bats are nocturnal, bats stay up at night, bats eat moths, which would be kind of boring, the author is telling us about bats in the format of a story, which I think is pretty cool. And if you remember, our central question is, what makes bats interesting and useful? So let's find out. Bat is waking, upside down as usual, hanging by her toenails. Her beady eyes open. Her pixie ears twitch. She shakes her thistledown fur. She unfurls her wings made of skin so fine the finger bones inside show through. The pipistrelle bat's body is no bigger than your thumb, so she's a pipistrelle and she's only about this big. Now she unhooks her toes and drops into black space. With a sound like a tiny umbrella opening, she flaps her wings. Bat is flying. A bat's wing is its arm and hand. 4 extra long fingers support the skin of the wing. So if you look closely, you can kind of see their little fingers. Out under the broken tile into the nighttime garden. Bats can see, but in the dark, good ears are more useful than eyes. Over bushes, under trees, between fence posts, through the tangled hedge, she swoops untouched. Bat is at home in the darkness as a fish is in the water. She doesn't need to see. She can hear where she is going. Does anybody remember? How can she hear where she's going? What does that mean? Bat shouts as she flies, louder than a hammer blow, higher than a squeak. She beams her voice around her like a flashlight, and the echoes come singing back. They carry a sound picture of all her voice has touched. Listening hard, Bat can hear every detail, the smallest twigs, the shape of leaves. Using sound to find your way like this is called echolocation. The noise bats make when they shout is too high for humans to hear, but Bat can hear when the sound waves bounce off of something and come back, so she knows not to fly into anything. Gliding and fluttering back and forth, she shouts her torch of sound among the trees, listening for her supper. All is still. Then a fat moth takes flight below her. A bat can eat dozens of big moths in a single night, or thousands of tiny flies, gnats, and mosquitoes. Bat plunges fast as blinking and grabs it in her open mouth. But the moth's pearly scales are moon dust slippery. It slithers from between her teeth. Bat dives, nets it with a wingtip, and scoops it to her mouth. This time she bites hard. Its wings fall away like the wrapper from a candy. In a moment, the moth is eaten. Bat sneezes. The dusty scales got up her nose. Most species of bat eat insects, but there are some that eat fruit, fish, frogs, even blood. Hunting time has run out. The dark will soon be gone. In the east, the sky is getting lighter. It's past Bat's bedtime. It's morning. Why is it just her bedtime? It's because bats are nocturnal. That means they rest by day and come out at night to search for food. She flies to the roof in the last shadows and swoops in under the broken tile. The place where bats sleep in the day is called a roost. It can be in a building, a cave, or a tree, as long as it's dry and safe. Inside there are squeakings. 50 hungry batlings hang in a huddle, hooked to a rafter by oversized feet. Bat lands and pushes in among them, toes first, upside down again. Baby bats, which are called batlings, can't fly. Sometimes mother bats carry their babies when they go out, but mostly the babies stay behind in the roost and crowd together to keep warm, so they kind of snuggle. Bat knows her baby's voice and calls to it. The velvet scrap batling climbs aboard and clings to Bat's fur by its coat hanger feet. Wrapped in her leathery wings, the baby snuggles to sleep. Baby bats drink mother's milk until they learn to fly at a few weeks old. Then they can leave the roost at night to find their own food. Outside, the birds are singing. The flowers turn their faces to the sun, but inside the roof hole, the darkness stays. Bat dozes with her batling, waiting. When the tide of night rises again, Bat will wake and plunge into the blackness, shouting, "Bat loves the night." Isn't that a cool story and a cool way to learn about bats?